The headquarters of Sterling Enterprises buzzed with its usual morning energy. Polished shoes clicking across marble floors, phones ringing, assistants rushing with tablets in hand. Everyone knew the rule. The CEO, Daniel Sterling, disliked chaos, noise, or anything unpredictable. The building ran like a machine because of him, so when a tiny figure slowly walked through the lobby, no one noticed at first. She was too small, too quiet. A little girl no older than 7, wearing a faded pink dress and shoes that had clearly been worn for far too long. Her hair was in messy braids, and she clutched a backpack to her chest as if it were a shield. She looked afraid but determined. Her big brown eyes searched every corner of the lobby until they landed on a tall man striding confidently toward the elevator. The CEO himself. Daniel Sterling, dressed in a crisp navy suit, his expression unreadable, his pace quick and focused. Without hesitation, the girl hurried toward him. Employees watched in confusion as the little girl reached out and gently tugged on his jacket sleeve. Daniel halted instantly, shocked, confused, and not used to being touched by anyone without an appointment, let alone a child. He looked down. She looked up. Their eyes met. Her voice trembled as she whispered, "Sir, my mom isn't waking up." The words were soft, but they sliced through the noise of the lobby like a scream. Daniel's entire expression changed. The confident CEO vanished, replaced by a man suddenly struck by fear and disbelief. What did you say?" he asked carefully, lowering himself to her height. Tears gathered in the girl's eyes, making them glisten. "I tried shaking her and calling her, but she won't open her eyes. I didn't know where else to go. Mama said if I ever needed help, to find you." Daniel froze. Him? Why him? A dozen questions raced through his mind, but none mattered more than the panic rising in his chest. He gently placed his hands on her shoulders. "What's your name?" he asked softly. "Lily," she whispered. "Please come, Mama needs you." Something inside Daniel cracked. A memory, a guilt, a promise he thought he'd buried long ago. He stood abruptly. "Take me to her," he said, voice firm and urgent. The lobby fell silent as the powerful CEO followed the tiny girl out the door, leaving everything behind for the one whisper that shattered his world. Lily led Daniel through the busy morning streets with quick, nervous steps. Her small hand held tightly onto his, as if afraid he might disappear if she let go. Daniel matched her pace, his usually calm heartbeat now pounding with an urgency he couldn't ignore. He had no idea why this little girl knew him, why her mother told her to find him of all people, but right now none of that mattered. They reached an old apartment complex, cracked walls, rusted railings, peeling paint. Definitely not the kind of place Daniel Sterling, billionaire CEO, ever expected to step into. But he didn't hesitate for a second. Lily pulled him up a narrow staircase and stopped at a door with faded numbers. "This is us," she whispered. Her hand trembled as she turned the knob. The door creaked open. Inside, the small apartment was dim and quiet. Too quiet. A blanket lay crumpled on the floor. A cup of tea sat half-finished on the table, and against the wall on a worn-out couch, a woman lay still. Her skin was pale, her breathing shallow, her hair spread over the pillow like a dark halo. She looked fragile, exhausted, as if life had pulled her to the edge and then pushed a little too hard. "Mama?" Lily whispered, running to her side. Daniel stepped closer, kneeling beside the couch. His heart tightened painfully as he gently touched the woman's wrist, checking for a pulse. It was there, but weak. "Sir, will she wake up?" Lily's voice trembled. Daniel swallowed hard before answering. "We're not going to wait and find out. She needs help now." He reached into his pocket to call emergency services, but froze when he heard a faint groan. The woman's eyelids fluttered. "Mama!" Lily cried, grabbing her hand. The woman's eyes opened slightly, then widened when she saw Daniel kneeling beside her. "You," she whispered, voice raspy. Fear flickered in her eyes. Or was it recognition? Daniel leaned forward. "Don't talk, you need medical attention." But she shook her head weakly. "No doctors, please." She tried to sit up but winced in pain. "You collapsed," Daniel said firmly. "This is not up for debate." Her eyes darted to Lily, then back to him. For a moment, something unspoken passed between them. something that made Daniel's breath catch. Why did she look at him like that? Why did she tremble not from pain, but from the fear of him seeing her like this? You shouldn't be here, she whispered, tears forming. I didn't want you to find out like this. Daniel froze. Find out what? His voice came out low, shaken. Who are you? The woman closed her eyes as if gathering courage. When she finally spoke, her words changed everything. Daniel, you knew me, before you became the man you are now. Ethan followed little Mia into the cramped apartment, his polished shoes silent on the worn floorboards. The moment he stepped inside, the smell of lavender detergent and stale air greeted him. The place was tidy, painfully tidy, as if someone had cleaned it in a hurry before collapsing. On the couch lay her, Mia's mother, Ava. Her skin was pale, her breathing shallow, her hands trembling slightly even in unconsciousness. Ethan's chest tightened the moment he saw her. Mom, we're here, Mia whispered, gently touching Ava's cheek. No response. Ethan crouched beside her, checking her pulse like he'd seen paramedics do countless times during corporate emergencies. Her pulse was weak, but there, she was alive, but barely holding on. Ethan, will she wake up? Mia's voice cracked. He looked at the little girl, her oversized backpack still hanging from her shoulders, her small face stained with dried tears. He felt something twist inside him, something he hadn't felt in years. I'll make sure she does, he said softly, his voice steadier than he felt. Without wasting a second, he scooped Ava into his arms. She was feather-light, far too light for a grown woman. Overworked, exhausted, malnourished. He could feel the story her fragile frame was telling. Mia grabbed his coat, following closely. As they hurried toward the elevator, Ava stirred faintly, whispering something he barely caught. Mia, I'm sorry. Ethan swallowed hard. How long had she been apologizing to the world, carrying everything alone? When they reached his car, he gently settled her in the back seat, Mia beside her holding her hand tightly. Sir, why are you helping us? Mia asked, her voice trembling with a fear that children should never know. Ethan paused. Many people had needed him before. Employees, investors, the board. But none of them had ever looked at him with this kind of hope. Because someone should have helped you a long time ago, he said quietly. As he drove toward the hospital, Ava's breathing steadied slightly. The city lights flickered against the windows, reflecting in Mia's eyes. Halfway there, Ava's hand moved weakly, brushing against his sleeve. Who are you? She whispered. Ethan glanced at her through the mirror. Someone who's not leaving, he answered. And for the first time in years, he meant it.